Every manager has been there. Ping, and an email pops up. Hey, just letting you know that I won't be in today. And suddenly your brain is racing. How long will this last? Is this genuine? How about the rest of the team? If you have ever felt that stress, trust me, you're not alone. But here's the thing, most employees don't want to be off sick. In fact, ACAS research shows that many actually push themselves too hard, leading to burnout, longer absences, and lower performance. And so how do you, as a manager, strike the right balance between supporting the employees and keeping the team running smoothly? And that's exactly what I'm going to break down today. One of the biggest fears managers have is that what if someone is just playing the system? And look, I get it. No one wants to be the manager who's too soft and gets taken for a ride, or the one who's too harsh and ends up in a tribunal. But here's a better way to handle this. Instead of assuming the worst, follow a process that helps you to get to the truth as well as support the employee. When we talk about sickness absence, we cannot ignore disability. Many long-term conditions, both physical and mental, are legally classified as disabilities under the Equality Act. So this means that employees with chronic illnesses, neurodivergence, or mental health conditions may require reasonable adjustments instead of being treated like any other absence case. And so understanding this distinction is crucial because failing to consider disability-related sickness can lead to legal issues and disengaged employees. Being proactive about disability awareness in sickness management ensures compliance, fairness, and a healthier workplace for everyone. Let's look at a real case, McQueen versus General Optical Council. Philip McQueen was a registration officer who worked at the General Optical Council. His time there was turbulent. He lived with dyslexia, traits of Asperger's syndrome, and hearing loss. And these challenges made workplace interactions anything but ordinary. So to help, occupational health experts stepped in, evaluating how stress affected his behavior. Their conclusion was that when anxiety spiked in him, so did his voice, and his tone and body language could come across as aggressive. So written follow-ups were introduced to support his communication. But even with these adjustments, tensions escalated and conversations became heated. In April 2015, a manager asked him to prioritize aspects of his work. It was a tense and uncomfortable situation, but a year later, it happened again. The same manager and the same issue, and this time his reaction, described by the tribunals later as meltdowns, was so intense that the manager was driven to tears. In fact, Mr. McQueen clashed with other colleagues over various issues from his job description to his low appraisal rating. With all these incidents, he was warned, first verbally, then formally. A final written warning followed. There was also a habit of him standing up at his desk and speaking loudly across the office, and so it added to the disruption. Mr. McQueen took his case to the Employment Tribunal, and his claim, it was disability discrimination under Section 15 of Equality Act 2010. His argument was that his disabilities caused his behavior, and the unfavorable treatment he received was a direct result. But the tribunal didn't see it this way. They reviewed medical evidence, workplace reports, and Mr. McQueen's own statements. And the conclusion was that while his disabilities made adapting to new work processes difficult, they were not the cause of his aggressive outbursts. His resistance to instructions, his frustrations, these, the tribunal ruled, were personality traits and not medical conditions. His loud speaking wasn't linked to his neurodiversity. It was just a habit. Mr. McQueen appealed this by going to the Employment Appeal Tribunal, but it was also dismissed. So what does this mean for managers when it comes to managing sick absences? One, we need to prove that there's a direct link between disability and behavior. Not every difficult situation or extreme behavior is a disability. It could just be the person's character or behavior. Another point is that you need clear documentation to prove whether an issue is performance-related or health-related. And thirdly, you need to seek occupational health advice or medical advice before making any big decisions. It is a tough balance, and in workplaces everywhere is a challenge that managers will continue to face. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but what do I actually need to do? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Here's a simple 3-step framework to manage sickness absence the right way. Step 1 is to have a clear, fair absence policy. This is something that HR can help. A good policy isn't just about policing, it's about creating clarity and fairness. Your policy should, 1, set clear trigger points for sickness review, 2, ensure consistent but flexible application, 3, address reasonable adjustments for sickness and disabilities. And 4, encourage early conversations around health needs. If managers and the team know what to expect, which can all be outlined in the policy, they are less likely to feel confused or treated unfairly. Step 2 is to have meaningful conversations and not just formal meetings. This is linked to how you handle the return to work conversations. It's crucial that when someone is absent from work, when they do come back, there's a meeting. It can be short, it can be long, just to understand whether the person is ready to come back into work and how they're feeling. An example of a bad approach is having that conversation and saying to the person, "You've been off too much lately. We need to discuss this formally." But a better approach is to say, "Hey, welcome back. I wanted to check in and see how you're feeling. Is there anything you need to make your return smoother?" ACRS found that return to work meetings cut long-term absences by 50%. Why? Because they make the employees feel valued and not punished. HR can also help with this, and there are return to work assessment templates that you can follow to ensure the employee is supported coming back to work. I have 2 templates that I will share in the description box. One is a return to work assessment that you can use. It's a very simple version. And then 2 is the conversation that you can have with an employee when it comes to understanding what the issues are around their health or disability. Step 3 is knowing when to make reasonable adjustments. Let's say that you have an employee, Alex, who's been taking more sick days. Instead of assuming Alex is slacking, you can ask these questions. 1, could it be a long-term condition like chronic pain or anxiety? 2, could a small change like flexible start times make a difference? It is essential that with anything health related, you seek qualified medical advice. This involves an occupational health assessment or any other medical assessment so that there is an expert medical input on how the sickness or disability impacts the work of the team member. The assessment will also suggest how the employer can provide reasonable accommodations to support the employee. So a little flexibility can prevent burnout, improve retention, and even boost productivity. It is, however, important for managers to have some training to recognize disability-related behaviors. So leaders need to be equipped to manage conversations sensitively, avoiding potential discrimination claims. So let me go through what you can cover in a conversation with an employee, and I'll link this to the description box below. So you can start off by opening the conversation with, "I wanted to check in with you because I've noticed some changes in your behavior recently, and I want to make sure everything is okay." And so that's the situation. And then you move on to the observation. Over the last few weeks, I've observed, and you can talk about the specific behaviors, such as increased absences, difficulty concentrating, changes in communication, conflicts with colleagues, etc. These are not typical of you, and I wanted to see if there's anything affecting you that we can support with. So with that, then you move on to the support and the reasonable adjustments that you can provide. What you can say is, "We understand that health, both physical and mental, can impact work. If there's anything we can do to support you, such as adjustments to your workload or schedule, please let us know. We can also refer you to occupational health if that would be helpful." And then with that, you set the expectations. At the same time, I want to be transparent that these behaviors have started to affect team dynamics, work output, or specific tasks. My role is to support you, and I'd like to work together to find a solution that helps both you and the team. And then you clarify next steps. So let's check in again in a week to see how things are going. If you'd like, we can also involve HR or occupational health to explore further support options. So this is a guide which can help you to have conversations around sickness or disabilities. So when it comes to sick absence management, the best managers don't panic when they get that sick day email. They have a clear plan, asking the right questions and supporting their people while keeping the business running. An important factor to consider when it comes to this is to have a business continuity plan, because for many managers, their problem is normally around, what does this mean in terms of the work that person was carrying or doing? So a tip here is to ensure that you have standard operating procedures with good communication and project management systems in place so that work can be managed and no one feels pressure to rush back before they are ready. So have you ever had a sickness absence situation that went wrong or right? Share your experience below. And if this has helped, hit the like button and subscribe for more. And let's keep making progress with care. See you in the next video.